Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I am Brienne, also known as Miss Movies, also known as your film therapist. I am not a real therapist, but I play one on the internet just for this show. And as with every session of film therapy, I have a guest patient. And my guest patient today is Lani Nishiyama from America's Got Taste, everyone. Very exciting. Very
Yes.
exciting.
Thank you. Thanks,
Hello,
Brienne.
Lonnie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while,
I know
aside
it's
from the
been a
few
long.
minutes before.
Exactly. It's been a while. We actually took class together. That's how we met each other, and we
You did.
became very close friends that way. Well, you just get close when you're in a class with people because you like divulge all your personal like life secrets.
Yes, you do divulge
Yes.
those life secrets because we were taking hosting class where we
Yes.
learned to lift the filter, as you will, from Marky Costello.
Mm-hmm.
Become a host is her brand, is her baby, and so we learn everything about everyone.
Everything. I think you guys know more about me than my own husband. So.
I mean, same with me too. That's
You-
just how it works.
Exactly. And I found out that we're both fellow Trojans here.
We are fellow
Yeah, so
Trojans.
that was
Fight
pretty
on,
awesome.
fight
Fight on.
on.
And she was a song girl. I mean, look at her. It's amazing.
It is amazing. I know how to dance,
Yes.
which is kind of interesting because I never took formal dance lessons growing up. So to get to
Really?
that point is pretty crazy.
And I hear those tryouts are just really difficult.
The tryouts are difficult, and I had zero intention of I wasn't even going to try out. A friend of mine who was a song girl was like, just come and learn a dance. Like you want to come learn a dance. I was like, oh fine, I'll learn a dance. And then I was like, I'll just go as far as it takes me.
Are
That
you
was
kidding
my
me?
like
I
philosophy.
know
I'll go
girls
as
that
far as it
were
takes me and then we'll
there
do
were
this.
girls that I had on my in my freshman dorm that were just like dying because they were like so they wanted to get in so badly and they were
Hmm.
practicing every day and they grew up dancing their whole lives and here you come and just strolling in like I don't really care. That's how people book get gigs too.
It is how they
Yeah,
get gigs
when you don't
because
care about
when
the
you just
audition.
don't
Yeah,
care.
exactly.
Amazing. There's a
Yeah,
lot of power in not giving a F.
yeah,
I'll
pretty
just leave it
much.
like
Just
that.
yeah, just tell it like it is.
So here's how this show works. If you have never joined us, I'm going to ask Lonnie three questions about film. They're the same three questions each and every time. What is a film that inspires you? What is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps
Hmm.
it's painful, maybe it's happy. And what is a
Right.
film that helps you through difficult times? But before that, let's get to know Lonnie a little bit better. Who are
Okay.
you? How would we know you? Where have we seen you? All those good things.
Yes, I'm Lani Nishiyama, and I do have a brand and a blog. I'm a food blogger. It's called America's Got Taste. I'm on Instagram and I'm constantly posting about my life, my food, everything that's great
Mhm.
with that. My family actually, I grew up in a family that owns a bread company in Torrance here.
You might
So,
know it.
yes, King's Hawaiian. They're
Yes.
amazing. I love them. My family works really hard and they do great things for the company. I myself do not work for the company, but I support them every day. um, and I love hosting. I actually was an actress as well. I started
Mhm.
out like you, Brienne, and then studied Meisner and decided I want to do something different where I can show my personality. So then I jumped into an audition for Comic Con of all places
Oh, hey.
and I booked it. Don't know how, because I didn't care. Because I didn't care,
Yeah,
just
there
like
you go.
you.
You're like, what am
Yeah,
I doing here? I don't know.
don't care.
What's this script? Okay, let's go.
Exactly. And then so I booked that. Fell in love with meeting people, interviewing people, and being myself in front of the camera.
Mhm.
So that's why I decided to pursue hosting, and here I am doing it now.
You are
Woo.
doing it now. You can
Yes.
check out Lonnie's brand. One place is on her Instagram. You
Yes.
can see little videos that she does, and then
Hmm.
those will link you to the longer video because it's maybe like a 3 to 5 minute video, but you see
Yeah.
like 1 minute on your Instagram.
Right. And
And
americasgottaste.com. I
there you
have,
go.
recipes and I also am really into fitness and fashion. So I kind
Because
of
it's all
post
kinds of
everything.
taste. It's
Exactly.
not just food, it's also taste and fashion.
Fashion. And now that I'm
Mhm.
pregnant,
Hey,
hey, thank you. Just entered my
congratulations.
second trimester. I post, about being pregnant and the good and the bad and the
Mhm.
nauseous. So everything's up on there.
I like that. The good, the bad, the nauseous.
Yes.
Instead of the good, the bad, the ugly, which
Right.
is a film.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Now, you just found out the gender of your baby.
I did just find out the gender of my baby.
And
It's on my Instagram, but
oh,
it's
there
a
you go. We'll tease it here.
okay. Well, no, I'm gonna tell them
Okay.
because I don't tell everybody.
Okay, good.
It's actually a boy,
It
and
matches your
it
microphone. There
does.
we go.
See,
Mhm.
she knew I was coming. My husband is over the moon. I could care less. I said a boy, a girl. I'm really excited. But my
Mhm.
husband said if I had another one of you, he's like I might go crazy. So I think this is a good,
That's
for our
cute.
first one, a boy is
Mhm.
good for us. Yeah.
I like that for your first one, which means more will be coming at some point in
At
life.
some point,
Okay,
yes,
cool.
not now.
Love that. Love that. Um, the one other thing that I wanted to ask you, it came into my brain and then it left my brain.
Okay.
So it maybe it'll come back. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. It's destiny.
Let's get into our first question, which is what is a
Okay.
film that inspires you?
A film that inspires me, or at least one that has really affected me in my life, is actually one from 1998, people.
Oh,
It's
good. I hope I've seen it.
Hope
Oh, I
Floats
like Hope Floats.
with
Okay, great,
Sandra
great.
Bullock and
hmm
Harry Connick Jr. And actually, it was directed by
Forrest
Forrest
Whitaker.
Whitaker. Look at
Yes.
you. She does know
Sometimes I know
everything.
things. We actually talked about this yesterday
What?
because Forrest Whitaker is in Black Panther.
Yes,
And
I
then we
which
were
I haven't
talking
seen
about
yet.
we were talking about movies that he had directed, and we both
Okay.
had said, JC and I, my co-host of 6 Degrees of Future Film, said,
How
Hope
funny.
Floats.
Oh my gosh, are you
Yes.
kidding me right now?
No.
This is so weird. I wish I watched that episode yesterday.
We didn't
Yeah.
get to dive into Hope Floats, but
Okay. Yes, but it is
Mhm.
such an inspiring movie for me because I feel like it was really parallel to my life growing up and probably relates to a lot of you out there who have had family struggles or single parents or lost a grandparent. I mean, there's just so many elements in that film that are addressed that it just really hits home for me.
Now, brush me up on the movie because it's not one that I've seen over and over again, so I can't really. I know that she is maybe divorced. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay, so
So what happens is
mhm,
she initially goes on this like Ricky Lake type of show and she
okay.
thinks she's getting a makeover. Her best friend brings her on and turns out that her best friend's been cheating with her husband. So
Mhm.
um they live in Chicago, this really nice life, and Sandra Bullock's totally blindsided. Her name's Birdie. I think that's so cute,
Yeah.
by the way. And she loses it and is like, okay, we're done. She leaves her husband, she goes and moves back into her mother's house in Texas, a small
Mhm.
town. And she kind of has to figure out her life all over again, get a job, support her child, her
I was going to
daughter.
say she has a child,
She has
yes.
a young daughter, and her daughter actually was struggling with this, like any kid would when your
Mhm.
parents separate or divorce. And she wrote her daughter a letter from the father and kind of said it was from the dad. And so the entire film, the daughter is holding all these grudges against Sandra Bullock because she's like, how could you leave my dad? It's all your fault. My dad loves me. See, I have this letter.
Mm.
Anyways, it's really heart tugging. Yeah.
What specifically inspires you in the movie?
Specifically, there's one scene where the father does come back to the small town when when Sandra Bullock's mother passes away, and the daughter is screaming like, I want to go with you, dad. I don't want to be with mom anymore, like just take me. And the father says, well, I can't because I have my new life with this woman now who was the best
Mhm.
friend of Sandra Bullock. And she's like, or he says, I can't take you. The daughter goes crazy. She's screaming, crying in the streets like, take me, dad. And then she realizes
Mm.
her mom's the one that's there for her. And it very
Oh.
much relates to my life, with my parents being divorced, and I ended up growing up with my mother, and I blamed her literally for everything that went on with the divorce. And I
Mm.
felt, now I look back and I'm like, wow, she took great care of me, sent me to good schools, and I just I love my mother. She worked two jobs her whole life and was
Oh,
an
wow.
incredible single mom, and she got remarried to a wonderful man. And in the film, Harry Connick Jr. is the new love interest, and I think
Mhm.
it's so cute because he he really does the best job at getting to know the daughter and really understanding where she's coming from. And I feel like my stepfather did that with me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice. So it has a lot of
a lot
parallels
of
to your life. I
parallels.
didn't realize that your
Yeah.
parents were divorced.
Yes, it's not common
Okay.
for us Asians.
Really? Why is
It's not
that?
very common. Maybe more now today in LA,
Mhm.
but it's a very traditional culture,
Mhm.
and it's not very common to have separations, divorces, or at least they don't talk about it if it happens.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
That's something I didn't know.
Yes,
I've learned
they're very
something new
prideful people,
today.
the Japanese.
Huh.
So this movie's been really touching for me, and every like 5 or 6 years, I'll see it on TV or Lifetime, and I'm like, oh, and I just die and I cry.
Like, Mom, this makes me think of you.
It
You're
does.
Birdie, Mom.
I
I'm the
know.
little girl.
Her
You're
name's
Birdie.
Bernice, the daughter, and it's
Uh-huh.
so cute because the Harry Connick's Jr. character is named Justin Matisse, and at the end of the film, she goes, Mom, if you end up marrying him, my only issue is that my name's going to become Bernice Matisse. And it's like really cute. I
Oh,
really loved
that's
it.
adorable.
Yeah, very,
That's
very
adorable.
adorable.
I need to rewatch that movie.
You'll cry
I
to pieces. Yeah.
I love Sandra Bullock just in everything, so I feel like it's due for a I'll have a lot of movies on my due for a rewatch list,
Yes.
as well as a lot of movies on my need to watch list. But I'm glad I have seen this one, and then I can go back and revisit it.
You will revisit it because now that we've talked about it, I already can see it in your eyes. You're getting teary eyed and you're going to
Yes,
want to see it.
I'm
And
definitely gonna
I
want to see
will say that this film is amazing for Sandra Bullock because at the time she had like Speed and all these great movies coming out.
it.
But I didn't really see her in this element as a mother and really like heartfelt.
Right.
And yeah. So she really was great.
Now, when your parents divorced, was your father like? Did he remain close in proximity,
In
or
proximity,
did he
no,
move?
he actually is in Hawaii, and
Okay.
so it made it even more difficult. And he
Hmm.
did get remarried. Actually, this is weird. I didn't think about this. And I hope she's not watching, but he remarried my mom's best friend.
Whoa, this is really parallel.
And I didn't even think about that. My mom grew up with her, and they were best friends since middle
Wow.
school in Hawaii. Yeah, and so that is weird. I didn't think about that. Yeah, so he remarried my mother's best friend and they had their own family and I love my sisters and my stepbrother, but I don't get to see them very often.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
So,
just thinking about this the other day, and we've had this discussion a lot recently in our household with
mhm.
my husband, not with my kids, because they'd be like, "Why are we talking about this?" But we do have friends that have gone through divorce or are going through divorce, and a lot of them feel like they can't move, like they can't move to another state or anything like that because they have
Right.
kids. And so
Mhm.
it's like, if I move, I give up custody, and I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be able to see my kids and
Yes.
share custody. So
Absolutely.
I can't go get a job somewhere else.
Right.
I have a relative right now who's
Mm.
going to be getting remarried, and I know her to be husband is like, "Oh, I want to get a job in California." I was like, "You're not moving to California
Yeah.
because your daughter, it, you know, would have to stay here
Yeah.
based on law." Like, so
It doesn't
I
make
don't
any
know how that's
sense.
going to work for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of legal tape on that. But
There is a lot of legal tape. My mother was just really gracious and she always said, she told my dad to do whatever was right for him
mm,
and for her, and so we've never had to like go to court or anything like that. But my
wow,
mother's always been my sole provider, and she's been amazing. And I feel bad for always blaming her,
sure,
for everything because the first person you blame or you get upset at are
is
the
your
people,
mom?
yeah,
Yeah, I
or the
know
people
that's
closest to
happening.
you.
Right?
Like
Yes.
my husband does nothing, and I just look at him and I'm like, this is all your fault.
Right.
He's
It's the
like, okay,
scapegoats of our lives.
yeah, right.
I was like, "Oh, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna be blamed." I already get blamed by my daughter for certain things, or my son.
Oh,
There's times when
really?
he'll like, this is what's kind of funny. He'll like trip and fall and be like, "Mom, you did." I was like, I wasn't anywhere near you.
You're
Don't
like, give
blame
me a
me."
break.
I don't know what you're
Oh,
doing.
something to look forward to.
No. Let's move to our second question,
Okay.
which is, what is a film or a scene from a film that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's painful, maybe it's happy.
I guess that was the one scene I was going to talk
Okay.
about, but there is another one that I absolutely love, and it's from Lion King.
Okay. Love Lion
I
King.
love
I've
Lion
seen it.
King. Yes. There is this one scene where um the I guess he's in a really bad time. What's his name?
Simba?
Simba. Duh.
Mhm.
Okay. So Simba's having a rough time. He left the pride and he's like doing his
Mhm.
own thing on his own. And then he meets Rafiki, the monkey, and
Yes.
he's just dancing around and he's like having a good time. And he's trying to teach him, like, hey, don't be a bozo. Don't be so negative. Don't be down on
Mhm.
yourself. Like, snap out of it. And he's like whacking him in the head. And I just thought, that is so genius, even as a kid, because you have depressing days and you're going through a hard time and then someone just comes in and is like, hey bozo, like snap out of it, like life's not that bad, look at you,
Right?
you look good, and life's good and you can eat whatever you want and just enjoy life. So I from a young age just thought that was really inspiring. And anytime I have a bad day, I always think, Lonnie, it's not that bad. Like, look at what's happening in the world right now.
There's a lot happening
A
right now.
lot everywhere. And, that's why I'm kind of scared to be a parent one day. But all these fears are creeping into my mind. Um, but one thing I have to do is always remember to be grateful for this moment and for all the blessings that we have. And life's never perfect, but I do have to be grateful. I feel blessed.
You are
Yeah.
blessed. I feel like I love Lion King, and
Yeah.
I was thinking about Lion King the other day. It's the top grossing musical on Broadway, which I
It's a
just
good one.
learned.
It's a good
It's a
one.
really good one, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Wow, this outgrossed Phantom of the Opera, and which has been around forever,
Forever.
and Wicked."
And Wicked.
And so, but gosh, they're gonna be doing the live action version of it coming
Really?
soon. Yeah, Jon Favreau's gonna direct that, who
Nice.
directed Jungle Book. I don't know, like, the status on it, like, in terms of, like, where we are in production, but
Mhm.
it was announced, and, it'll be interesting. But there's so many parts. Yeah, I like that too. I like how I heard a sermon once that was about changing perspective.
Okay.
And I think that kind of relates to this in terms of, if we can choose to look at something one way, or we can
Mhm.
choose to look at it another way. And I think it's
Sure.
hard to sometimes just be able to change perspective. But if
Absolutely.
you are in a place where you're even just thinking about, what if I looked at this differently,
Yes.
then that's a good place to be.
You recognize it. You're aware of it.
Yeah, recognition,
Yeah.
awareness.
It's all
And
about perspective. They say that the glass is half full or half
mhm.
empty. I like to consider it full, also because I'm always hungry. So I'd like for things to be full.
It's good to always be hungry.
It is. It is. And the talking about what you're talking about with the perspective, it's one of the reasons why I love being in my spin classes,
Mm.
because I love to exercise. It's great for you, it's healthy, but also it changes my mindset a bit. It's kind of like yoga with spin class, the one that I take in Santa Monica. And
Mhm.
literally, I leave that class and I'm like more positive, and it's like no one can bring you down but yourself. Is what I always learn when I'm in there. And when I come out, I just feel like this is my life. I have control over it to some degree, for, as much as I can.
Mhm.
And I'm going to choose to be a positive person, and I'm going to help as many people as I can. And I'm going to do the best that I can in my life. So, it relates to all aspects of my life, and I really try to apply it in everything I do.
That's awesome that you can
Yeah.
get that from a spin class. You must have an instructor that is super positive and
She's
amazing.
amazing, and she's actually pregnant too. We're like a few weeks
Oh,
apart. Yeah.
whoa, I
I
like that.
know, she's cool.
I've taken a spin class once in my life, and I was
Okay.
like, I don't think I'm gonna do that again. But maybe it's more of a like I needed to find like the right
Maybe
instructor,
it's the
right
right
motivation.
yes,
I don't
yes.
know. I think also just cardio in general. I'm just always like,
Really?
it's
You're in great
interesting.
shape, though.
I have a trainer, so that helps.
Oh.
That helps. But
Mhm.
but
Trainer.
normally I'll do like dance as my cardio, and that's a
Sure.
different.
That's
I feel
hot.
like that's a different,
Yeah,
I don't know, endurance level
it is.
than spinning, because spinning's a lot higher endurance, and I'm like, I am not ready for this.
But you use muscles when you dance that
That's true.
you don't in any other activity.
True.
you
That
know
is true.
I am not at the level you are, but I grew up dancing. And
Mhm.
anytime I go back and I take a class, I'm like, whoa, that just kicked my butt.
Right?
I'm like,
There
I
are
don't
some days
know.
when I haven't gone in a few weeks,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Okay, why was I not here? Because I obviously need this." The only reason I was gone was because I was, like, in Hawaii, or
Oh
my
wow,
kids
I feel
didn't wanna
bad for
I know,
you.
my kids didn't wanna go that week, so I was
Okay.
like, ugh,
Yeah.
because like, it's
Is
a
that hard
evening
to do?
class.
It's an evening class, but is it hard to balance having children, a family, and exercising? How do you
Exercising, it can be difficult to balance all that. As
Mhm.
they get older, it's a little bit
Mm,
it changes as it
right.
goes on. So that particular class that I take is on Monday evenings.
Okay.
And so my kids don't always like to go into what's called the kids club. It's a really nice kids club,
Yeah.
but they just don't like to go there.
I mean, would you want to
So
go there?
I think it's pretty nice, but I don't
It's like
know from
you
a
don't know
kid's
because it's
point
like
of view.
strange kids. There's like other random people there.
Right.
You're
Usually they get to know about the same kids because they're usually the same, like the regulars, if you will, the kids club regulars.
right.
And there was a time when like the staff just wasn't great on Monday nights. So then
Mhm.
I did let someone know about that. Like, hey, what's going on here? And then they were like, thank you for letting me know.
Yes.
We're gonna make sure that it's different now. And I was like, okay, good. Because my kids would come back and be like, we don't want to go because they make us clean up before we're even done playing with something. And I
Oh,
was like, that
wow.
doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
So
That's just a power trip.
yeah, now I hopefully it's different now. Last night was good. They went last night.
Okay.
So
All right.
they had a good time.
Okay,
They had a
good.
good time. So I'm like, all right, it's just maybe that day was not going
Not
well.
good.
And
Not good.
now hopefully we'll see if it's better. But what I plan with that is like they have swim class, then I shower them, and then they go into the kids club and I go to my class on Monday nights. So it kind of is like
Wow.
all back to back. And I pack them a little dinner. And if they want to eat, they can.
If they want to eat, they can. Well, that's a lot of
Hmm.
preparation to be a mother. I mean, because like I only care
You
about
get through
myself
it,
right now, you know?
right?
Yeah.
You
And
get
my
through it.
husband, I'm like, if you're hungry, go figure it out. Like you're a grown man.
Yeah.
Can't do that with a
Nice.
baby. Go figure it
No,
out.
no. I mean, I'm hoping we'll get there soon to the you got this.
Yes.
You go.
You can
But
pack your own snack at least.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Let's get into our third question,
Okay.
which is what is a film that helps you through difficult times?
A film that helps me through difficult times. Well, I'm sure you might have had someone else say this on your show, and I'm
Okay.
not, this is honest to God my favorite film of all time. So it just puts me in a great
Okay,
mood.
good.
Dirty Dancing.
Oh, no one has said that on this show.
Shut
Thank
up, really?
God.
Yeah,
Dirty
right.
Dancing's like in my top 10 movies of all time. It
Really?
is. I
Oh
love
my
it. I
god.
love it.
I love that film. Growing up, I loved it so much that Patrick Swayze's character in Dirty Dancing, his name's Johnny.
Mhm.
So I had a dog when I was 3 and I named him Johnny. My
Wow,
mom's
you
like,
saw
"Why?"
this at a young age.
Oh, I a little too young, single mom, okay?
Yes, she's like, "Just watch it.
Yeah, it's just
Just
it's
go
just
a it's
rated R,
okay."
you're good. But it's so funny. So I named my dog Johnny, and everyone would ask me why, and I'm like, "From Dirty Dancing." And my mom's like, "Stop telling people that I let you see that movie." I'm like, and I'd watch it every night, and she'd have to fast forward the like sexy scene.
Sure.
But and I'd be like, "What are they doing?" She's like, "They just kiss. That's it, and you can't do that till you're 30." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Um,
Aw, that's
yeah,
cute.
but I love that film so much because it's so inspiring in the sense where here's a girl who people would think has everything. She comes from a wealthy background. She gets to
Mhm.
go to this amazing summer camp type thing,
Resort.
resort, if
Yes.
you will, and meets the love of her life who is nothing
Mhm.
like her, which I actually love. But he's hardworking and he is honest, and I think they make each other better. And then in the end, no one puts baby in the corner, and she gets to dance and just be her beautiful self.
That's right.
And I love that film because it
Mhm.
makes me feel like, I kind of grew up in a situation where my parents were like, you're going to be a doctor or you're going to go to business school. So I went to business school
Mhm.
and I majored in finance. It's really thrilling. Um,
Lots of numbers.
yeah, lots of numbers. I
Mm.
am good with numbers,
Okay,
but
good.
I,
Good.
I don't like them. So I'm really bad at my budget. So I, always wanted to be a performer in
Mhm.
entertainment. And everyone knew that in my family, but they just said, at least get a degree. So I did that. And then now I'm pursuing my dreams. And that film constantly inspires me because anytime I'm having a bad day or I haven't had an audition in a couple
Mhm.
weeks or whatever it is, I pop that film in and I'm like on cloud nine and I feel like I'm baby and I'm gonna like do the lift in the air.
Yes.
Yes.
Do that lift in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I love Dirty Dancing
Me
so
too.
much. I'm so glad you brought this up. You know
Okay, good.
what's kind of a little bit disappointing is that
Hmm.
my husband attributes this movie to an ex-girlfriend and
Oh.
therefore he doesn't like it and it gets upset if I have it on. So I'm like,
No.
"Great."
But you
So
guys
I have to work with that now.
now,
That baggage.
but he was with her. How long ago was that?
Well, now it was like when we got together in 2002 and that was maybe 2000.
Okay.
So 18 years? Maybe he needs to just get over it.
You know what though? Like I'm looking at baby
Mhm,
names right now, and it's
mhm.
hard to get over things because
It is.
my husband will be like, "I love the name Jack," and I'm like, "Yeah, Jack's great, but I dated this guy named Jack, and he
Mhm.
really sucked." And
We
I'm
have a
like,
Jack in our class.
"Yeah, right." I'm like, "I'm not gonna name my kid Jack." It's like by association.
Right?
So he associates that film with his ex, and she must have been
Yes.
terrifying.
I
Yeah.
guess so. I mean, oh man. And did you watch the live version that they did?
On TV
Yeah.
when yeah,
I
I
didn't.
did
I avoided
watch
it.
the Dirty Dancing live version. It was hard to get through.
Okay.
I actually DVR'd it, the live
Mhm.
version. Um, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I
I'm sure
Every
I wouldn't
time
have
they do
liked it.
that to a film or a movie or a play, I'm like, and they put it on TV like that, I'm like, why?
Yeah. Why?
They did that recently. I think there was another movie. I can't think of it, but it was like a holiday thing, and they did it on ABC, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah,
So
why would you do this?
right, and Dirty Dancing is so classic.
It is so classic.
Jennifer Grey, actually, after she got that nose job, it was
Mhm.
right after Dirty Dancing. She never really got work again.
I know. Isn't that insane? I think that's why
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand is like, I'm never changing.
No,
Like,
and
I
here you go,
gotta let's
Barbara.
just leave this how it is.
Yeah, you gotta own. I mean,
Mhm.
I grew up. For those of you who can't see, I never really had much of a nose.
Mhm.
I got that flat little Asian nose, but I I remember being a kid and I told my mom, I hate my nose. I want to get a nose job, and she was like, "Don't ever do that." She's like, "Just be who you are and own it." She's like,
Yeah.
like if you change the way you look on your face, no one's gonna recognize you, and it might like change the way people see you. And I'm like, that's true.
That is true. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you have a deviated septum,
Well,
because
of
some people
course.
have to,
Of
and I get that.
course.
I understand that too.
Absolutely. Or if you like break your nose and it's
Yeah.
all,
Then you gotta
I get
do
it.
what you need to do.
Exactly. But and if it makes you happier, I
Also, do what you need to
suppose.
do.
But I just always felt that Jennifer Grey should never have gotten the nose job. She looked beautiful
She
before.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
Before we get into something that I want to ask you about,
Mhm.
I want to let people know if you have a problem, put it in the chat and we'll prescribe you a
Yes.
movie in just a few minutes. But I wanted to ask you, you talked about being a performer
Yes.
or wanting to be a performer. And I know that you have done some performing on stage in
Mhm.
competition. Is that right?
Well, I did do Are you referring to that pageant I did?
Yes.
So I I know I
I
can't
want to
stop
know how
laughing
you
about it.
perform and like what you do for that and all that
Um,
good stuff.
it was funny because while I was trying to figure out, okay, am I still going to be an actress or am I going to do this hosting thing?
Mhm.
There's something called Nisei Week, which some of you might know. It's in Little Tokyo here in downtown LA, and it actually originated way back when during the war, when people were put in internment camps. And there was a lot going on with Japanese prejudice, but the Japanese people were very resilient, and they weren't just Japanese because a lot of these people were born here in America. They're called Nisei when you're first generation born here.
Mm.
And the Nisei couldn't identify with the Japanese back home because they're Americans, but couldn't identify with the Americans here because they looked Japanese. So, oh,
Hey, there's my husband.
yep, making an appearance. What up? So I actually was like, okay, this is like a great cause. My grandmother
Mhm.
pushed me every day, like called me, like, this is your last chance to run. You're gonna be way too old, so just go for it. I was like, all right. So I've never been in a pageant, people. I'm
Mhm.
literally 5'1", barely. I thought, okay, well, I'll just go for it. It ended
Yep.
up being the most
This is one of
rewarding.
those other things. Well,
Exactly.
I guess I'll just do it.
When you don't care. When
When
you
you
don't
don't
care.
care.
Yeah, you can become a song girl or an Issei Week queen. Um, I went for it and I ended up making actually the best friends of my life. And the seven of us became very close. We were court princesses and
Mhm.
first princess and then
Nice.
queen. And we had a Miss Congeniality. She was amazing. And she's actually very well known as well. She's a CrossFit champion.
Whoa.
I know, at 5'3". So we ended up becoming best friends. We performed together. I obviously had to do a speech, and we sang and we danced. And I did odori, which is a Japanese dance, which is very difficult when you wear a kimono and you're
Mm.
like this stuck, and you have fans and you're throwing fans in the air and catching them and doing all these
Whoa.
spin moves. It was really intense.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But it was really fascinating and fun to learn. And to this day, it's one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Got to travel the world. I went to Japan. I went everywhere and gave speeches and performances and met a lot of dignitaries. And I really felt like an ambassador for my community.
That's really cool.
Yes.
I'm glad I've got to learn more about it because I
Yeah.
knew that you had some sort of crown of some sort and I didn't know what it was all about. And so
Yeah.
is it kind of in a way, is there any way of it that's traditional pageant like? Did you do a talent to become the queen or
There's not talent to become a queen, not necessarily. There's no like specific talent except you have to give it your own speech, which I think is
okay.
really difficult. And then also you have to answer a Q&A at the very end, and you don't know what the question is, so that's pretty hard. On top of that, there are performances, but they, in order to kind of keep you all in the same um, playing field, they teach you everything. So you
Mm.
perform the
Okay,
dances
got
the
it.
same, you perform everything kind of the same, and then that's how they judge you.
Kind of like compulsory for like gymnastics or something like that, where
Yes.
you all do the same thing, and then they're like, okay, we've ranked you all based
Yeah,
on this, and now,
exactly,
okay, I like that.
exactly.
I
And it
like
was
that.
really nice. Yeah. The singing, I think, was challenging for all of us, so we decided to
Hmm.
do it together.
Okay, great. I like thank you, Lonnie, for sharing
Yeah,
that because now I feel like
absolutely.
I have a better picture, and I didn't before, even though I
Yeah.
know so much about you from class.
Thank
That's something
you.
I didn't really know about.
Thank you. Yeah, because people are always saying they think they know me, but then I feel like there's so many other layers there with, just being in here, and you literally are a therapist talking about my family, which I don't
Mhm.
do very often.
Yeah.
And also about this Nisei week. So I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, let's look. Why is it held for review? I don't know. All right, let's look up here. We have one. I'm just going to allow it show it. Sorry. When I'm looking at the chat. Okay. So, Andrew says, problems
Mhm.
keep coming up in my life. We're now in movie prescription, by the way. Problems keep coming up in my life that I have no control over, as everyone. That makes sense. That are preventing me from achieving a life goal. What should I check out?
Hmm.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, obviously, the pursuit of happiness, because which I mean could be for pretty much any problem, the pursuit of happiness, because he just never gives up in all of the struggles that he faces. He just keeps pushing forward. So I feel
This
like
is Will
that's going to
Smith,
help you. Yes,
right?
Will
Okay.
Smith just keeps
Trying to
pushing
remember.
forward
Mhm.
and gets to a point where he become like we don't even see like the successful part of him, but we
Mhm.
know that he has achieved that.
Yes.
And so
I mean,
Andrew, I'm going to say that's for you.
Andrew, also, having that drive in you, I think, is the main thing, and that's what the pursuit of happiness is about, is that drive and that never giving up and that hope. Um, for example, my husband, he is such a hardworking man, and he came from a lot of us had parents who were like, go to school and help you pay for your college and all that stuff. And he was blessed to have a little bit of help and everything, but he did everything on his own. And he was the first one in his cousins and stuff to really get the education that he has and to really push forward and be a successful person. But I see how hard he works in everything he does, whether he's working out, whether he's pursuing his career, or trying to have a family with me. He really was persistent, so I gave him a kid. But I think that if you just have that drive, A, you're going to get there because you have it. And B, people see that. And it's a very
Mhm.
attractive quality. And I think that's going to help you out a lot in life.
Yes, keep moving. Just keep
Hmm.
swimming. Just keep swimming.
Another good movie.
Laura says dating someone for the first time in a
Hmm.
while is bringing up lots of issues I thought had faded. I need help sitting with my feelings and not reacting compulsively, but mindfully. Mm.
Mm.
I was like, the opposite would be that movie Anger Management with Adam Sandler.
That's a good one.
Um, or maybe it would be good because then he, overcomes
He
this.
does.
Although I
Um,
don't really like Adam Sandler movies, but
really?
I don't know why. Well,
Happy
I like
Gilmore.
old. Yeah, I like
Yes.
Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. Like I like older
Billy
ones. I don't like the new
Madison.
school ones, I'll
Okay.
say.
Well, new school, everything is kind of weird these days.
Yeah. So that's the only one I can think of right
um,
now.
you know, I think I would watch, what's that film? He's Just Not That Into You or
Oh, okay,
whatever.
yes.
Yes, because
There's
I
a lot
think,
of different people that you
yes,
can pull from on that.
right, so many different situations, and
Mhm.
women tend to put blinders on a lot because we're emotional and we're loving and we're giving and we're maternal, and
Yes.
we're born that way. It's innate. And I think with men it's the same thing. So we give, and sometimes we don't realize what's happening. So sometimes it's good to take a step back and be like, okay, is is this good for me? Is he really into me, or is this just something that he needs from me and he's being a taker and I'm being a giver?
Mhm.
And I have a rule, like whenever I used to date someone back in the day, I always liked when I was pursued. It's kind of traditional, but I think the
Mhm.
man should be way more into you, and then you can fall in love. And you have to have
That's good. That's good.
expectations, and that guy should always be above them.
There's one thing I really like in that movie. He's just not that into you. Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly.
Yes.
Here's spoilers of He's Just Not That Into You. She breaks a mirror
Mhm.
because she's so angry.
Yes.
And then like a second later, she like leaves frame. Second later, she comes back with the broom and like she's like gonna
Sweeping
keep
yeah.
sweeping it up. And
Okay,
I
now I
just
gotta
thought
clean
that
it
was
up.
so funny because that's so true of like what something I might do. I'm gonna break this. All right, now I
You
gotta
gotta clean
clean
it
it up.
up.
Like, no,
Don't want
all
anyone to
right.
step on this glass.
All right, we're gonna close up movie prescription. Thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us for that.
Yes.
Lonnie, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
on
It's been
film therapy today.
awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Where
I
can
love
everyone
it.
find you? Everywhere online.
Everywhere.
All good things.
Americasgottaste.com. Just check me out on Instagram at Lani Nishiyama. And I'm constantly putting up new videos, recipes, things that I love, fashion, fitness. And I have a whole new segment coming out on America's Got Taste about my
Ooh.
pregnancy. So
Yes.
you're going to watch me just get bigger and bigger and hopefully less nauseous. So I'm really excited about that.
I want to see those time lapse videos where
I
it's just like
know.
gets
I have
all the
a little
way.
belly already.
I
13
don't
weeks.
believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe
It
it.
might have been the McDonald's I had this morning.
That could happen too. McDonald's will do that.
Yes, it will.
You guys can find me all day, every day on Twitter at Miss Movies, Instagram Miss_movies. And today I'm going to be on Movie Fights on Screen Junkies at 4
Woo!
p.m. Pacific Standard Time, going against my co-host Stacey Howard. And I prepped for 4.5 hours last night, so we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes.
It's gonna be great. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you for checking it out. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.